3 of Formula E Accelerate begins now. Down towards turn 1, Siggy got a reasonable getaway by the looks of things. Rasmussen slots into second place, thinks about going to the outside. Very early on the brakes from Bono Huis in the Mercedes. There's going to be a bit of contact there, 3 wide. The 2 Jaguars have Graham Carroll in the Envision Virgin car trying to get up the inside of him. There's a spinner further back. Apologies, it was one of the Neos, not the Jaguars. But it's Siggy who leads, Rasmussen second, Huis in third, Berliak still fourth. Fifth place is Risto Capit, I think, just about. It's Stefanko who's dropped down the order. Bold start from Erhan Yayovski. He's gone from 9th up to 7th spot on the opening couple of corners, and it's such an interesting first few corners at Berlin. There's so many lines to take.
Yeah, it's really, really tight. You know, it's a long first corner and goes into the narrow to turn 2, so always a tough start to the race. But yeah, some bold moves there.
24 minutes left on the clock. On board with Peter Berliak in the BMW, who's running in 4th position. That's Bono Huis in front of him. Everybody fanning out further back. There's the Audi of Biancalila on the attack with a robust move, going past Nikodem Wisniewski to take 9th position. Jan van der Heijden's there in 11th place. So Siggy, Rasmussen and Huis still the top 3. Berliak still the top 4, as they were on the grid, as they come down towards turn 1. Marius Golombek's under investigation for some of that chaos at turn 1. In fact, it was him and Arthur Leeuw, who now you can see are down in 23rd and 24th places, who spun around, and that's what happened. Golombek into the back of Leeuw, and then he got spun around again, joined in by the other Porsche driver of Jaroslav Honzik, and that was the chaos at the first corner. But Siggy leads, Rasmussen second, but like in Formula E in real life, you get the early stages of the race, you think you know what's going on, but it all changes later on. Last week's race, for example, Yayovski looked like he had it under control until Rasmussen came at him.
Yeah, definitely the front guys are looking to make a break. It looks like Kevin Siggy's made a bit of a gap already to Rasmussen, nearly a second now. But obviously the energy management and the attack mode can always make some big changes in Formula E races.
Yeah, new for this iteration of Studio 397's Formula E car is the energy usage and the attack mode. They are saving energy whilst they are coming off the throttle and regenerating it while they're on the brakes. It's two minutes of attack mode, and they can start to use them from now onwards. So we'll see how they decide to use them over the next 22.5 minutes. Siggy sets the fastest lap of the race, which again would give him an extra point. There's Graham Carroll in the bottom left. He's always got that sort of yellow tint to his glasses, actually, hasn't he? Sort of Edgar Davids style. But I don't know if that's who he's modelling himself on. He hasn't quite got the hair for it, but Carroll running well in 5th position at the moment. One of the drivers that did the Visa Vegas E-race a few years ago, which you came out and did.
I did, yes. It was my first experience of sim racing, and yeah, real baptism of fire.
So there's Kuba Brzezinski in the Jaguar. There's Kevin Siggy, race leader. 0.8 of a second ahead of Freddie Rasmussen. Bono Huis getting dropped a little in 3rd place. Marius Golombek decides to activate his first attack mode. He's down in 23rd position, so I guess it's a case of might as well, really, for Golombek. He's got a long race to go if he wants to get back up the order. There's Freddie Rasmussen in his trademark dark room. And he's getting onto the brakes, coming down into the first corner.
It looks like he's closed the gap a little bit. He's now only 6 tenths behind Siggy, so maybe Siggy's trying to save a bit more energy.
Yeah, he set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, and as a result, as you say, the gap down to 0.6 of a second. It's then 2 seconds back to Bono Huis, so we'll see whether the Dutchman can manage to keep up with them. The 5 times Formula Sim racing champion back in the start of the 2010s. There is Golombek in attack mode, up behind Tameja Benchik at the moment. And Siggy activates his attack mode now, actually. So Kevin Siggy into attack mode. That's a fairly early usage, and this is the first attack mode we've seen this season where you lose time if you activate attack mode. So as a result, Siggy has lost the lead of the race to Freddie Rasmussen. Now that's an interesting choice to give up track position.
Yeah, he's lost 1 position. Taking the attack mode, you have to take the really wide line at the end of the back straight. Here he is going into attack mode. Yeah, he got it perfectly. only losing one place. I think it's not bad on this track because there's lots of overtaking opportunities, and here he is down the inside into turn 1.
So Siggy in attack mode up the inside of Freddie Rasmussen. Rasmussen tries to hang it on, but he can't quite get the job done. Maybe he decided that he would be able to get back out in front of Bono Huis, and so that was the reason he decided to take it so early. We'll see whether Rasmussen responds then. So Siggy out in front, but you can presumably lose a lot of time trying to get back past a car that you've already passed.
Yeah, this track there's lots of overtaking opportunities. There's a number of long straights, so it's one of probably the easier tracks to overtake in Formula E. So I guess that's why he took the opportunity to take the attack mode early on.
19.5 minutes to go. Now, Erhan Yuyovski made a great start. He was in 9th place, gained a couple of places up into 7th. He's now stuck behind the Neo 333 of Risto Capit. We're on board with Yuyovski here, coming down into the hairpin right-hander of turn 9. And Yuyovski looks very focused, doesn't he? Top of the championship, but if it finished like this, he would not be. Marius Gollenbeck has been given a drive-through penalty for that incident down in the first corner, so if his race wasn't kind of run already, it certainly is now. Siggy sets the fastest lap of the race as we're on board with Yuyovski. Now this is where he's got to try and manage that attack versus conserve situation.
Yeah, it's always the challenge in Formula E races, you know, using your energy efficiently to try and overtake, but not, you know, obviously not burning up too much, because, you know, he's got to, you know, focus on getting ahead of as many cars as possible.
Someone very kind on the YouTube chat said I was their favourite commentator, but now everyone else is saying, no, these other commentators are better, so there we go. Thanks for that. Really enjoying reading this. Big shout out to Alex Jakes and Ben Edwards. There goes Risto Capit through the attack mode activation zone, loses a place to Martin Stefanko, and Freddie Rasmussen has activated attack mode now as well. 2.8 seconds back from Siggy once he'd activated it. We'll see whether he can close back in. He just about managed to get in front of Bono Huis on his return. Peter Berliak is right up behind Huis, and then Carroll is right up behind Berliak. So this is the order of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Rasmussen, Huis, Berliak, Carroll, all right together, but Siggy and Rasmussen have both used one of their attack modes.
Yeah, I think Siggy's used his attack mode to make a bit of a gap. Now he's got nearly a 2.5 second gap. So now he can just drive cleanly and focus on the energy management.
So we're on board with Peter Berliak in the other BMW, with Siggy and Rasmussen out front at the moment. In the team's championship, this is looking quite good for BMW, because they're currently 2nd in the standings behind Venturi. But Venturi, as it stands, are only scoring points with Yuyovski in 6th position, because Lawrence Herzing's down in 18th place. 2nd attack mode now used for Kevin Siggy then. So Siggy uses another attack mode, gets out in front of Rasmussen, and it's worked out fairly nicely for Siggy, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely. He's using both his attack modes early though. He's going to have no defence at the end, so hopefully, I guess he's trying to make a gap and trying to break away from the pack.
Yeah, indeed. 17 minutes left on the clock. As you say, it's going to be... We saw how strong Freddie Rasmussen was on usable energy last time out. Here's Risto Capit watching the Carroll Yuyovski fight in front. So Yuyovski has caught the back of Graham Carroll, mainly because Carroll went through the attack mode this time. And Capit also has used an attack mode, whereas Yuyovski has not used either of them. So that's one attack mode for Risto Capit, one attack mode for Graham Carroll, and none at the moment used for Yuyovski. Olli Pakala is now setting the fastest lap time of anyone, down in 14th spot at the moment, up behind Jan van der Heide. 16 minutes to go, so this is all brewing up nicely towards the end of the race. I can see Rasmussen closing in with an attack mode, and that's going to be how he's going to try. Well, no, as I say that, he goes through attack mode now and activates it. This is it then. This is his 2nd shot at attack mode to try and get ahead of Siggy.
Yeah, he's obviously wanting to close the gap and also break away from the guys behind. I think looks like their strategy is to take the attack modes as early as possible for most of them.
Huis has taken attack mode, so he's dropped behind Peter Berliak. So Berliak is up into 3rd spot at the moment. Huis 4th, Carroll 5th. Yuyovski's still there in 6th position then, so he's managed to get ahead of Risto Capit. He managed to stay in front of him when Capit did his attack mode, because I don't think Yuyovski has used one yet. Here's Bono Huis down towards turn 1. Berliak fights it, but Huis finds the inside, coming into turn 1. Back end nearly goes. but he gets it stopped just in time, and Huis back up into third. So the top three as they started at the moment. But Siggy's just ended his attack mode. Rasmussen is 2.3 seconds behind. How quickly can he close up to Siggy in the next couple of minutes?
Yeah, I think he's not going to close the full gap, but I guess it's going to come down to the amount of energy at the end of the race. So, you know, this track in Berlin is quite tough on energy compared to maybe some of the, like Hong Kong and last week. So I think, you know, the energy is going to be more critical at the end of the race.
Second attack mode used for Risto Capit, the Neo 333. Teo Peb uses his second attack mode as well, but this is Freddie Rasmussen. Chips the gap down to 2.2 seconds to Kevin Siggy out in front, but he's only got half a minute left in it. Okay, that'll be down the long start-finish straight, where I guess the extra power is most important. And once the attack modes are done, we'll take a look at the usable energy that these drivers have remaining, because that'll give us a clue as well, as we're on board with Huis in third. Petter Berliak is closing up to Graham Carroll as well in the fight over fourth position. Berliak right up behind Carroll, he's in attack mode too, and that would take us back to the initial top four that we had. Rasmussen 1.5 seconds back from Siggy out in front. Yegowski still there in sixth place, I think, still yet to use an attack mode, so maybe he's just saving really hard in this race and going to go aggressive towards the end.
Yeah, he might be saving both his attack modes to use at the end. I think if all the others look like they've used two up, so he's going to have a good chance to attack.
Now there's usable energy remaining as Berliak and Carroll come together on the exit of the left-hander of turn 7. But who has the most energy remaining? Yegowski's on 56, Stefanko 57. So really it's Rasmussen, Huis and Carroll, you would say, at the front, who are a little bit worse off than those around. Stefanko's looking in a strong position there, in 7th place, but overall it's fairly even. That's Petter Berliak down in the bottom left.
Siggy has 1% more than Rasmussen though, so looks like he's actually got more energy and a gap, so he's looking good at this stage of the race.
Berliak and Carroll again going at it. Berliak in the BMW in attack mode, Carroll not, and holding on to that fourth position still as Petter Berliak runs out of attack mode. I think that was his last attack mode as well, Petter Berliak. We'll wait and see if he can do anything about Graham Carroll in regular energy mode, regular power mode, I should say. Siggy still has a bit more usable energy than Rasmussen in second, who has a bit more than Huis in third, who has a bit more than Carroll in fourth at the moment. So 12.5 minutes to go. We are seeing a bit of spread energy-wise. There's a second attack mode activated for Martin Stefanko as we go on board with Bono Huis, running in third position at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like both Bono Huis and Graham Carroll are probably the lowest on the energy. So it looks like they're going to be under threat from the guys behind in the later stages of this race.
12 minutes to go. Stefanko in attack mode now to try and get ahead of Risto Capit in 7th place. Yegowski still there in 6th position. So the 6th place for Yegowski would give him 8 points. So the swing would be 17 points. So he'd still manage to hold the lead of the championship, Yegowski, but only just about. Here's side by side between Stefanko and Capit. Stefanko in the Jaguar getting passed by the 333 of Capit up the inside into turn 1, and he's up into 7th spot. Nice clean move that, coming down into the first corner.
Yeah, he's been consistent in the first 2 races with a P8 and a P6, so if he can finish again in the points, I think, yeah, three strong races from Risto Capit.
Side by side again, actually, between Stefanko and Capit. Yegowski uses his attack mode then, and I didn't quite glimpse whether it was 1 or 2, but I'm pretty sure it's 1 for Yegowski. Hits the wall pretty heavily on the exit of the left-hander there of 7th, so that might give him a little bit of damage. It is full damage setting on these races.
Yeah, if you can clip the wall at the wrong angle, you can damage the car, and that definitely affects the performance on this rFactor platform.
11 minutes left on the clock. Here's Bianca Lila fighting hard with one of the DS2 cheaters of Nikodem Wisniewski. Side by side up towards the final corner. Still side by side. And is Wisniewski going to feed him into the wall? Yes, he is, Roland Massa style. And Wisniewski holds the place. He's under investigation. And much in that?
Not really, just a bit of rubbing. Just normal in Formula E.
Yeah, exactly. The amount of drivers, the first Formula E race they do, and they come out at the end like, what was that? What was that? It's Kevin Siggy, pole sitter. Look how much little energy Huis and Carroll have compared to the others, especially Graham Carroll. Now, I just wonder if they're banking on it being a lap shorter than the race is, or something like that. Because we've got 10 minutes to go.
Definitely going to be under threat, aren't they, from the guys behind?
Do you, I guess in real Formula, it's a constant working out of how much energy you need, especially with safety cars, full course yellows, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of strategy in the background, you know, the chances of safety cars or full course yellows. But ultimately, yeah, you want to be as quick as possible for as little energy as possible. So everyone's trying to achieve that, and you know, you have to work with the engineers and the team to give you the updates on the energy of the other guys.
Now, Olli Pakala, as he comes across the line in 16th position, has just been overtaken by pave, who's now up into 15th place. Yujovski's attack mode comes to a conclusion in 6th spot. Here's a replay of the battle between them up the inside into 9, and Pakala had no answer to that and lost out the spot, and is now still running in 16th position behind Pev in 15th spot. Siggy and Rasmussen, 1.5 seconds between them still up at the front. Bono Huis in 3rd place. That's how he wants his name to be said. For those of you coming at me on the YouTube chat again, I know you can say Bono House, but he wants to say Bono Huis, so I will say it side by side. Going in there, that was the Mercedes of Otmir and Jan van der Heide, both wheel to wheel coming into turn 13. There you see Olli Pakala down in the bottom left, another driver who did the Visa Vegas E-race a few years ago. He also is part of the McLaren F1 esports team. Did the 24 Hours of Daytona earlier this year on iRacing, and his teammates were Fernando Alonso and Rubens Barrichello, so he very much enjoyed that one. 8 minutes left on the clock. Here's Otmir, up in front of Van der Heide, who thinks about sending it down into 1. Not quite close enough. Jarno Otmir, the reigning F1 esports champion. His teammate Bono Huis up in 3rd spot as it stands. And again, that gap as well. Just as I say that, it comes down to 1.2 seconds. So when are we going to get the last charge from Rasmussen up to the back of Siggy? Arthur Leyuk is out of the race at the moment. Otmir under pressure from Jan van der Heide down into the... No, apologies, the other way around. It's Gassner going past Van der Heide. Someone going into attack mode there. That is Kuba Brzezinski in the Jaguar. But it's still Siggy out in front with 7 minutes to go. This was about the stage last week that we were like, oh, this is looking easy for the leader.
Yeah, he looks like he's got it under control at this moment, but you never know in Formula E races, and still only 1.5 seconds is a small gap still.
7 minutes on the clock. On board here with Kuba Brzezinski in the Jaguar, running in 12th position, looking to the outside of Mark Gassner coming down into turn 1. Gassner covering the inside, the 2014 GT Academy Germany winner. Did a few real races in GTs, in things like the Blancpain Endurance Series. And then he was 3rd at Le Mans and LMP2 in 2020, the virtual Le Mans. 6.5 minutes left on the clock. There is Graham Carroll then, behind Bono Huis, about half a second between them, but with quite a bit less energy, Carroll, than the rest of those around him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we get towards the end of the race and get to the stage where you finally know how much energy you need to get to the end. Who can forget the 2 Nissan cars running out of energy in Mexico City a few years ago? Was that your?
Not that year, no.
Okay.
No.
The breaking down from the lead one. I didn't know if I wanted to say it.
No, but this track also, the last lap is critical for energy, because it's such a tough lap on energy. You know, if you have a little bit less, you can really, you know, lose so much lap time on the final lap. So this race is never over until the final lap.
Saw Otmir and Pakala having a little bit of rubbing coming onto the exit of turn 9. This is what happened on board with Pakala, and Otmir fed him into the barriers. That's a little rude.
That was a bit aggressive, yeah.
The one we saw earlier on. Here's Carroll then. right up behind Bono Huis, and he goes for his second attack mode then, Graham Carroll. So he has decided to leave it a bit later than the others. Oh, is he going to lose out here to Peter Berliak? They're going to be side by side. He just has enough power to get ahead, and Berliak's got all out of shape. That could be an opportunity for Erhan Yayovski. We haven't mentioned him in a while. He's in 6th place. That's going to close the gap to 5th. Peter Berliak, just a little bit with 5 minutes to go. Not enough to make a move just yet, but I still think Yayovski's got one attack mode remaining, and I
think he has.
Yeah, and I think Berliak has definitely used one. Has he used two? That's going to be the question. Carroll's in his second attack mode now to try and attack Huis. 4.5 minutes to go. Erhan Yayovski, the supreme North Macedonian in the first 2 races, pole and the win in New York City and Hong Kong, but no pole, and very unlikely to be a win in this 3rd race. And then there's the 4-week gap while we go to Diriyah in Saudi Arabia for the first real race of the FIA Formula E World Championship, and Huis goes into his second attack mode now, and so Carroll gets the position. Jarno Opmeer in 14th place has been given a 5-second penalty for that collision with Olli Pakala that we just saw at the hairpin. So the battle for 3rd is very much on, because Carroll now has track position.
Yeah, but I think he probably has the least amount of energy, so definitely I think the battle for 3rd is going to be really, really tight at the end of the race.
Here's Yayovski coming into the final corner, and then out over the line again, down towards turn 1.
There's the energy. So actually Peter Berliak seems to have the most energy of the guys fighting for T3.
Yeah, so he may well come into this a little bit later on. Yayovski too maybe has an attack mode remaining and a bit more energy than Carroll and Huis.
Looks like Kevin Siggy's got it under control of the front. He's actually got the most energy of anyone, and a gap. So it looks like he's looking good for the win.
Yeah, 3 minutes to go, and you'd have thought the charge from Freddie Rasmussen would have come by now. Carroll, I'm sure Carroll's going to be a lap short here well, unless he's right and everyone else is wrong, but that's getting up 3 or 4% a lap is about what you'd expect.
Yeah, usually, yeah, exactly. This is about a lap hour, isn't it?
Here's Jan van der Heijden. Oh, this is going to get a bit tight, isn't it? He's up behind his teammate Mark Gassner. Someone going through attack mode there was Kuba Brzezinski. They're up behind Manuel Biancalina and Nikodem Wisniewski in 9th and 10th position. Huis is about to run out of his second attack mode. Yayovski is in his second attack mode now. In front of us, and up the inside of us comes a Jaguar. Up in front is Wisniewski going side by side with Mark Gassner coming into the final corner, and here's the move up the inside. Bono Huis sends it coming into turn 1 and gets ahead of Graham Carroll. So Huis gets up into 3rd place using his attack mode, and he's back into the 3rd spot in which he started. He and Carroll are both looking very, very short. We'll have to wait and see how many more laps we've got.
It looks like they've both been fighting each other and using up their energy, so hopefully they're not going to end up with not enough at the end of the race, because as I say, you can lose a lot of positions in the last lap.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to save that, isn't it? If you have a 4% deficit with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, you can't get into someone's race. They look like they're battling each other and using up so much energy that they're just going to hurt each other basically.
And it's just like the real Formula E. Speaking to these drivers, they are the top sim racers in the world, but they say it's actually the most difficult thing I've ever done, racing this with the energy and not pushing too hard, but also pushing as hard as you can.
Yeah, exactly, because in most formulas, you don't have to worry about, you're just driving as fast as you can, but in this, there's so much in the energy management that, and makes you quick in the race. It's really important to be on top of that.
So we're now on the penultimate lap of the race, side by side for Carroll and Huis. Without attack mode, they're banging wheels as they come through turn 1. Huis tries to just show him out wide. Carroll keeps his nose in. Huis gives him room. Nice clean racing, and Carroll might get this done. They're now onto the brakes into the left-hander, and does Huis give him room again? Yes, he does. This is very clean stuff. A little bit of a touch there. You saw Carroll having to fight the wheel as he nearly lost it too. Coming down into the left-hander now at turn 6, and there's the dummy. Carroll up the inside. Huis is down to 4%. Carroll's down to 3. I don't think they're getting to the end of this race. No. They're surely not getting another lap.
I don't see how they're going to do the last lap.
Peter Berliak is coming up to join them. Jajowski is not too far behind as well in the Venturi. Here they come. Carroll covers the inside line, Huis to the outside, but this isn't the last lap of the race. They're going to come across the line. They'll have done it absolutely perfectly for a 21-lap race, but it's going to be a 22-lap race.
Maybe the time was tight because it's only 7 seconds now, and maybe they were banking on it being a lap short of the race.
It must be that. Siggy crosses the line to start his final lap. 0 minutes remaining, and Carroll has hit 0%. Huis has hit 0. They've both stopped. They think that was the end of the race. They thought that was all they had to do, and now they've got to try and creep around somehow on the final lap, but they're not going to make it. So Peter Berliak gets up into 3rd place, up into 4th place. From 9th on the grid goes Erhan Jajowski. What a recovery drive from the championship leader. Carroll slowing down. He's going to try and roll to the finish, but that's not really going to achieve anything. Kevin Siggy out in front. But, wow, it's so difficult because, of course, these guys haven't got a whole team behind them with all the computers and stuff.
Exactly, I think the time was tight, and they were obviously banking on the leader crossing the line earlier and the race being 1 lap shorter, but as you say, they haven't got the whole team of engineers working this out in the background. So
yeah, they were about 7 seconds away from making it, being a lap shorter than they thought it was going to be. Here comes Kevin Siggy though, through the final corner. The Race at Home Challenge winner from last year is back in the championship fight. Comes across the line, wins in Berlin. 2nd for Freddie Rasmussen, his second place in a row. Peter Berliak finishes in 3rd, and Erhan Jajowski does manage to pick up 4th position then. So the swing is 13 points between the two of them, so it's a 9-point advantage for Erhan Jajowski at the top of the championship. Kevin Siggy set the fastest lap of the race. Olli Pakala set the actual fastest lap of the race, but he finished in 11th spot, so Siggy will get that point. 1.3 seconds ahead of Freddie Rasmussen in 2nd place, Peter Berliak 3rd in the other BMW. Jajowski recovering from 9th up into 4th, Martin Stefanko in 5th. Risto Capit 6th, Manuel Biancalila in 7th place. The DS Techeetah of Nikodem Wisniewski picks up another couple of points in 8th spot. Further down, Bono Huis managed to finish in 16th position. Graham Carroll in 20th position. Such frustration for them. Timea Benchik gets her best result of the season with a 15th place finish, only a couple of seconds behind Jana Wotmere, who did end up with that 5-second penalty.